Hi, welcome to another Woohoo Wednesday. I'm Little Woo, and I'm here to address another life question that I've received. This week's question is, how to say no after you've said yes. This situation is very tough because your integrity, your reputation, your reliability might be in question, and also some of your projects and your relationships might be greatly impacted. So I want to first acknowledge that it is a tough situation, but this is something that has come up for me recently on a few occasions and for some of my clients. So I want to bring it up to hopefully help some of you if you are finding yourself in a position you've said yes, but then you realize that you actually would like to say no. I want to look at some of the reasons why you may want to say no later. Is that one, you might have gotten more information after you said yes, you gathered some more research, or you were given some advice, or you just had some additional information that changed things for you. Second is that you might have had some more time to get grounded, and so you acquired more clarity. And once the excitement, the enthusiasm, the maybe guilt of the moment, or other influences that impacted your yes have passed. So after you've gotten grounded, you have a change of heart. The third reason why you might change your mind later is that your intuition keeps growing and guiding you towards a no, even though your first response was yes. So that's sometimes intuition or inner guidance takes time to decipher and also can be difficult to trust, especially if it means saying no to someone. And now I'm going to give you 7 basic tips that will hopefully help you when you're in this situation. First thing is to get clear. So once you've start to feel this way, just sit down and really take a moment to get clear on your reasons, feelings, and intuitions to ensure that you've looked very carefully at the situation. Because maybe you didn't look carefully enough the first time, so make sure you look carefully now. Maybe you need to look from different angles and really consider all of your realm of feeling and thought. And second is to let others know that you need to speak with them as soon as possible. So timeliness is very important, especially if you're about to change your mind. You really want to fill them in as soon as possible. It's ideal if it can be done in person or by phone so that they can at least hear and feel the fullness of your expression, because sometimes some of that can be lost. Third tip is, depending on the situation, and as long as there's no breach of confidentiality, you might want to share some or all of the reasons that you are feeling different. And then also include what it is that you actually want or need in the situation. And that might be that you actually need to focus on your family, or maybe you need to focus on your health. And so having people understand your reasoning and what your true needs are can be very helpful. And then the fourth tip is to give others the opportunity to respond. So even though you might have made a decision in your mind that is no, you might still want to give them, it's really fair to give them a chance to respond. Doesn't mean you're going to change your mind, but it might. Maybe you do need to hear from them. So give them that space, really listen, be open to what they're thinking and feeling, and also they might have options, ideas, or solutions that they never mentioned before because they didn't realize the depth of the situation, or they didn't realize what you were feeling or thinking. So some of these changes might change your mind or affect the situation in a way that impacts everyone beneficially in the long run. The fifth tip is see if you can have more time to consider the situation now with the additional changes and details. So if you didn't have enough time and space the first time when you made your decision, maybe you made it a little bit too rushed, make sure that you've asked, is there a chance to have some time and space? That's really important when you're making a decision. For any commitment that requires more than a few hours of your time and energy, you will probably want to ask, if there's a deadline, can you have a little more time? Most decisions will allow some time to think, even if it's only a few hours or a few days. The sixth tip is, as a preventative for changing your mind in the future, always make sure that you ask for more time and space to consider the decision. And this is, again, For any commitment that involves more than a few hours of your time and energy, that's usually a basic guideline that I give myself. And, recently I got really excited about certain things and I ended up saying yes. And it's not a regret, but it's a learning. It's a learning about, wow, what later changed my mind and how can I learn from this situation so that I can improve how I respond next time. And you would like to be able to access them during this period so that you can ask questions, because maybe you actually still are missing some information and you want to be able to reach out to them before the deadline. The seventh tip is to remember the whole time that your honesty is really important in the long term, even though you might have to make apologies and create some discomfort in the short term. Even though people might be disappointed or upset by your change of mind, it is to everyone's benefit that you are truthful about your decision. And so in the long run, that benefits all kinds of relationships and projects. Of course, there are some exceptions, and in some situations, time is very compressed, or maybe aspects like your safety is compromised. And so in those situations, you may not be able to ask for time or even explain your reasoning or talk to the person. For example, consent for sexual contact. It's all happening quite quickly. So even after you've said yes or expressed consent, know that you can withdraw your consent. Depending on the situation, you may explain yourself or you may not. It's not your complete responsibility to make sure the other person understands. It's more that you have to make sure that they're honoring your truth and that you've expressed your truth. So in those situations, even when you've given consent, you can withdraw it, but be very clear and be not guilty about setting your boundary, because it's guilt that overcomes our boundaries. Often it's one of the number one boundary pushers, is that if you feel guilt or someone's kind of trying to influence you to feel obligation or duty or some kind of guilt around saying yes or no, then you need to really understand that your no is more meaningful than a false yes in the long run. Okay, and I want to acknowledge also that it takes so much courage to be able to do this, to be able to say no after you've said yes. When you change your mind and express your truth, it's not easy, and it's not comfortable. Often it's very unpleasant for everyone concerned, but at least people always know where you stand, and they will better understand who you are and how you think, and that you're honorable. And even when it's not easy, that you're willing to, express the reality of your situation and be vulnerable in saying no, and yet be powerful by being truthful. And that's one of the secrets to decision making, is to really go through these steps and learn from them each time, because we can keep making default decisions. And I also want to mention that this weekend in Vancouver, if you're around, there are still tickets left for Converge Pond. It's a wonderful conference that's being produced in Vancouver. It's about sexuality, relationships, and all kinds of really cutting-edge topics. And I'm going to be doing a talk and seminar on how to say no with absolute love. So that really connects with this week's question. It's how to generally make important decisions. And then how to say no, and some of the reasons why we have trouble saying no. Because if that's something that is a pattern for you, this might be a talk that you'll really benefit from. And also there's 30 other experts that are going to be speaking over the weekend on all kinds of really cool topics. I'm very excited to take part, and I hope to see you there. One-day tickets are available. I'm going to include the link at the bottom of this post. Come back next Wednesday for another life question I've received, and do send me your life questions. I'm collecting them and addressing them each week. So email me at treasures@littlewoo.org, and also check out my website littlewoo.org for all the videos that I've done over the last year and on different topics, but they're all about how to apply your compassion and your creativity in order to be a more magical human. And if you want to work with me, I do one-on-one mentorship, private session work. That's all on the website. And please join my private list, because I may not always be on Facebook. Facebook can change its mind on us, and that's the way to stay in touch with me long term, and for me to share a lot of really wonderful things with you. So lots of love from the Mermaid Pirate Lagoon. Mwah.